You're constantly distracted. Your goals feel like a distant dream, and your willpower? It feels like it's fading in a world basically designed to keep you that way. Notifications are always buzzing. Feeds scroll on forever, and your attention is fractured into 1,000 tiny pieces. You know what you need to do, but that pull of cheap dopamine and easy comfort is relentless. It leaves you with that quiet sense of guilt at the end of the day, a feeling that you're not really in the driver's seat of your own life. But what if the key to breaking free isn't in some new app or productivity hack, but in the 2,000-year-old wisdom of a man who ruled an empire while facing war, plague, and betrayal? Imagine waking up every single day with the mental clarity and the strength to just do what needs to be done. No distractions, no procrastination, just absolute focus. Imagine having a mind that isn't swayed by impulse or emotion, but is guided by reason and purpose. This isn't a superpower. It's a skill you can train. Today, we're unlocking 10 practical exercises from the mind of the Roman Emperor and Stoic philosopher, Marcus Aurelius. These aren't just ancient reflections. They are a battle-tested guide to mastering your own mind. For 19 years, as the most powerful man in the world, his biggest battle was the one he fought inside himself. His private journal, which we know as meditations, was his training ground, a series of reminders and mental exercises made to forge unbreakable self-discipline. These principles gave him the strength to lead. They'll give you back control. Stick around, because this isn't just another list of tips. This is a blueprint for building an inner fortress, a guide to becoming the person you were meant to be. Section 1. Practice the dichotomy of control. Principle number 1. Practice the dichotomy of control. This is the bedrock of Stoic practice and the real starting point for true self-discipline. While the philosopher Epictetus first laid it out, Marcus Aurelius lived by it. The concept is simple, but it's profound. Some things are up to us, and others are not. According to the Stoics, the only things truly in our control are our own thoughts, judgments, and actions. Everything else, the weather, the economy, what other people think of you, even your own health and wealth, is ultimately external and not fully in your command. The undisciplined mind wastes a huge amount of energy worrying, complaining, and trying to manipulate things it just can't change. It's constantly distressed by outside events, which kills focus and destroys resolve. Marcus knew this all too well. He wrote to himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That strength comes from redirecting all of your focus and effort onto the one area where you are king, your own inner world. Now, this isn't a philosophy of just sitting back and doing nothing. It's a strategy for being effective. It's about knowing the difference between a fertile field you can actually cultivate and a barren desert where your efforts will just die. Why spend your life trying to command the wind when you can just adjust your sails? Here's your actionable exercise. Each morning, take a moment to make 2 lists, either on paper or just in your head. First, what is within my control today? This might be the effort you put into a project, your choice of what to eat, your patience with your family, your decision to exercise. Second, what is not within my control today? This could be the traffic on your commute, a client's final decision, or whether it rains. Throughout the day, consciously put your energy only on that first list. When you feel yourself getting anxious or frustrated about something on the second list, gently remind yourself, this is not mine to command. At the end of the day, reflect. Did you pour your energy into what you could control? Doing this daily will free you from a world of stress and give you the focus you need for real discipline. Section 2. Take 100% personal responsibility. Principle number 2. Take 100% personal responsibility and reject the victim mentality. In his private notes, Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do your job without whining." This simple command gets right to the heart of this second principle. The undisciplined mind is always looking for someone or something to blame. The traffic made me late. My boss is unfair. The economy is bad. This habit of blaming externals creates a victim mentality, a state where you're powerless and the world is just happening to you. The Stoic, however, knows that while we can't control what happens to us, we always control our response. And in that response, we find our power and our freedom. To build self-discipline is to relentlessly own your choices, your reactions, and your life. It means seeing every setback not as a personal attack, but as a chance to practice a virtue like patience, creativity, or resilience. When you refuse to play the victim, you take back your power. You stop waiting for the world to be fair, and you start creating your own way forward. You go from being a passive observer of your life to an active participant. This mental shift is critical because discipline can only be built on a foundation of ownership. If your failures are always someone else's fault, you'll never feel the need to improve. If you're a victim, the solution is always for someone else to change. If you're responsible, the solution starts with you. Here's your actionable exercise. For the next week, commit to a blame audit. Every time you face a frustration or a setback, catch yourself before you complain or blame something external. Pause and ask yourself this one question. What part of this can I own and control? Maybe you can't control that a project was delayed, but you can control how you communicate the new timeline. Maybe you can't control a criticism you received, but you can control whether you learn from it or let it defeat you. Journal about these moments. Instead of writing down the problem, write down your chosen, responsible action. This practice of consciously choosing ownership over victimhood will build the emotional independence you need for unshakable discipline. Section 3. Show up every day. Principle number 3. Show up every day. Discipline isn't born in a flash of inspiration or some sudden burst of motivation. It's forged in the quiet, unglamorous, and often difficult act of just being consistent. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you must build up your life action by action and be content if each one achieves its goal as far as possible, and no one can keep you from this. The modern world tells us to wait until we feel motivated. We binge watch content hoping for that one spark that will ignite a fire of productivity. The Stoics taught the opposite. They taught that motivation isn't the cause of action, but the result of it. The simple act of showing up and doing the work, especially on the days you really don't feel like it, does wonders for your mental endurance. Think about it this way. Discipline is a muscle. Every time you choose to act on your goals, despite your mood, you're doing a rep. Every time you give in to laziness or distraction, that muscle weakens. One bad day doesn't have to become a bad week, and a bad week doesn't have to become a bad year. The moment you wake up, a new life can begin. The goal isn't perfection, it's persistence. Your actionable exercise is to define a minimum viable action for your most important goal. If you want to be a writer, your minimum is to write 1 paragraph. If you want to get fit, your minimum is 5 minutes of exercise. The action should be so small that it feels almost ridiculous not to do it. Then, get a calendar, and for every day you complete this minimum action, draw a big X. Your only goal is to not break the chain. This isn't about getting massive results in one day. It's about building the identity of a person who shows up. It's about proving to yourself, through action, that you are disciplined. Over time, that consistency compounds into something truly great. Section 4. Practice voluntary hardship. Principle number 4. Practice voluntary hardship. Marcus Aurelius said, we should discipline ourselves in small things, and from these progress to things of greater value. In our world of ultimate comfort where food is delivered, entertainment is endless, and every discomfort can be instantly medicated away, our resilience has become fragile. We're easily broken by even minor problems. The Stoics knew that a life of constant ease creates a soft mind, one that's totally unprepared for the inevitable hardships of life. To fight this, they practiced deliberately and safely exposing themselves to discomfort to harden their minds and bodies. By choosing to be uncomfortable in a controlled way, you do 2 things. First, you vaccinate yourself against future misfortune. You learn that you can handle more than you think, which reduces your fear of the unknown. You start to understand what scarcity and hardship feel like, and you realize you can live with them if you have to. Second, you build gratitude for what you already have. A cold shower makes a warm room feel like a luxury. A day of fasting makes a simple meal taste like a feast. You recalibrate your sense of pleasure and find joy in the simple things. This isn't about punishing yourself, it's about mastering yourself. Here's your actionable exercise. Once a week, Choose one small voluntary hardship. Here are some ideas. Take a cold shower. Sleep on the floor for one night. Skip a meal and feel what it's like to be hungry for a bit. Leave your jacket at home on a chilly day. Work for an hour with zero distractions, no phone, no music. While you're feeling the discomfort, don't complain. Instead, just observe your mind's reaction. See how it begs for comfort. Acknowledge the feeling, and then gently bring your focus back to the task. Reflect on it afterward. Realize that you survived, and you're stronger for it. This practice will systematically toughen your resolve and make the real, involuntary hardships of life far less scary. Section 5. Master your impulses. Principle number 5. Master your impulses by practicing delayed gratification. The Stoic virtue of temperance is, at its core, self-control. Marcus Aurelius constantly wrote about the need to master the impulses that so often lead us astray. We live in a culture of instant gratification. We want success now, pleasure now, comfort now. This constant search for an immediate reward weakens our ability to work for more meaningful long-term goals. The undisciplined person is a slave to their impulses. They get pulled around by every craving, every desire, every fleeting emotion. They trade the deep satisfaction of achieving a great goal for the cheap thrill of a momentary pleasure. The Stoics understood that real freedom isn't the ability to do whatever you want, but the ability to not do what you don't really want to do. It's freedom from your own worst instincts. Practicing delayed gratification is the training ground for this freedom. It's about creating a space between an impulse and your reaction to it. In that space, you can consult your reason, remember your values, and make a choice that aligns with your higher self, rather than your lower appetites. Your actionable exercise is to use the 1-0-minute rule. The next time you feel a strong impulse to do something that pulls you away from your goals, whether it's eating junk food, endlessly scrolling social media, or making an impulse buy, force yourself to wait just 10 minutes. Set a timer. During those 10 minutes, take a few deep breaths and ask yourself, does this action align with the person I want to be? Will this serve my long-term goals? More often than not, by the time the 10 minutes are up, the intensity of the craving will have faded, and you'll be able to make a more rational choice. Start with 10 minutes, and as you get stronger, you can make it longer. You're training your mind to understand that you are in control, not your impulses. If you're finding these principles valuable, and you're serious about building a new level of self-discipline in your life, take a second to subscribe and like this video. It's a small act of discipline in itself, and it makes sure you won't miss the second half of this guide, where we'll go even deeper into the mind of Marcus Aurelius to unlock the rest of the keys to an unconquerable will. Section 6. Ignore naysayers and external validation. Principle number 6. Ignore naysayers and external validation. As you commit to a path of discipline and self-improvement, you're going to attract critics. It's inevitable. People might doubt you, mock your efforts, or try to pull you back down to their level. Marcus Aurelius knew this well, reminding himself that true peace comes from within and can't be shaken by what other people think. The desire for approval is a powerful and dangerous master. When your self-worth is tied to the opinions of others, you give them the power to control your emotions and wreck your progress. A single negative comment can ruin your day and kill your motivation. A lack of praise can make you question your entire purpose. This is a fragile way to live, and it's totally incompatible with true self-discipline. The Stoic approach isn't to become arrogant, but to build what we now call an internal locus of control. This just means your validation comes from sticking to your own principles, not from the applause of the crowd. You judge yourself by your effort, your integrity, and your commitment to your purpose. As long as you're acting in line with your own values, the opinions of others become irrelevant noise. Getting upset about a naysayer is as foolish and as big a waste of energy as getting upset about the weather. Your actionable exercise is to practice the value filter. When you get criticism or feel the sting of someone's disapproval, pause before you react. Ask yourself 3 questions. 1. Does this person share my values? 2. Is their opinion informed and constructive? And 3. Does this criticism actually matter for my life's purpose? If the answer to these is no, then consciously choose to discard the opinion as irrelevant. Picture it as a cloud passing by. You can see it, but you don't have to let it rain on you. On social media, this can be literal. Mute, block, and curate your environment to protect your focus. Your mental energy is a finite, precious resource. Don't give it away to people who don't deserve it. Section 7. Find and commit to your purpose. Principle number 7. Self-discipline starts with purpose. At the very heart of Marcus Aurelius's philosophy is the idea that discipline without a purpose is just an empty ritual. When he struggled to get out of bed, he'd ask himself, I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of if I'm going to do what I was born for? He believed every person has a purpose, a role to play in the world, and that our main duty is to fulfill that purpose. Purpose is your ultimate why. It's the fuel that gets you out of bed when it's cold and dark. It's the reason you push through a hard task when motivation is long gone. Without a clear and compelling purpose, self-discipline becomes a battle of willpower against momentary discomfort, a battle you will eventually lose. But when your daily actions are connected to a larger mission that you deeply care about, discipline stops being a chore. It becomes a joyful expression of who you are. If you don't know what your purpose is to find it. And you don't find it by thinking, you find it by acting. If you want to be a writer, write. If you want to be an artist, create. Action clarifies purpose. And your purpose doesn't have to be some grand world-changing mission. It might be to be a good parent, a reliable friend, a skilled craftsman, or a source of stability for your community. The scale doesn't matter. The clarity and the commitment do. Here's your actionable exercise. Take some time for quiet reflection and write down a single sentence that defines your purpose right now. It can be simple, like, my purpose is to build a strong and healthy body to have energy for my family. Or, my purpose is to master my craft to create things of value. Once you have this sentence, break it down. What are 3 daily actions that directly serve this purpose? Write them down. Each morning, review your purpose statement and these actions. This simple ritual connects your small, daily efforts to your great, overarching mission and transforms discipline from a burden into a calling. Section 8. Count on yourself. Principle number 8. Count on yourself. In one of his notes, Marcus Aurelius wrote about the need to keep his mind centered on itself. This is a call for radical self-reliance. While Stoicism absolutely recognizes that we're social creatures, it also puts immense importance on building an inner fortress, a citadel of the mind that doesn't depend on other people or outside circumstances for its stability. The undisciplined person is often emotionally dependent. They need a workout partner to go to the gym. They need a boss to tell them what to do. They need constant encouragement from friends to stay on track. This reliance on others makes their discipline fragile. When the friend cancels, the workout is skipped. When the boss is away, work slacks off. When the encouragement stops, the effort dies. To count on yourself means you make a commitment to yourself, and you honor that commitment as if it were a sacred contract. You are the one who is ultimately responsible for your actions and your goals. This builds a profound sense of integrity and strength. It means your progress isn't dependent on the whims of others. You are your own source of motivation, your own taskmaster, and your own greatest ally. Your actionable exercise is this. Choose one small, meaningful goal for the upcoming week. It could be finishing a book, completing a specific project at work, or sticking to a diet for 7 straight days. Now, make a plan to do it entirely on your own. Don't ask for help. Don't look for external accountability. Write down the steps you need to take and make a firm commitment to yourself. I will see this through, no matter what. As you work through your plan, notice any urges to rely on others for motivation. Instead of reaching out, turn inward. Remind yourself of your commitment. Completing this goal, powered solely by your own resolve, will be a powerful testament to your own capability and will strengthen the very core of your self-discipline. Section 9. Cultivate self-control as a core virtue. Principle number 9. Cultivate self-control as a core virtue. For the Stoics, self-control, or temperance, isn't just a useful tool. It's one of the 4 cardinal virtues, right alongside wisdom, justice, and courage. It's the foundation upon which a good character is built. The philosopher Epictetus warned that our success and failure in life are not ultimately determined by our circumstances, but by our ability to govern our own minds. Discipline in one area of life bleeds into all others. A person who has the self-control to manage their diet is more likely to have the discipline to manage their finances. A person who can control their temper is more likely to have the focus to master a complex skill. Self-control is the master key that unlocks achievement in every part of your life. This requires brutal honesty and self-awareness. You have to know your own weaknesses. You have to identify the triggers that lead you to undisciplined behavior. Is it your phone? Is it a certain time of day? Is it a particular emotion? To cultivate self-control is to be a vigilant guard at the gates of your mind, inspecting every thought and impulse before it's allowed to become an action. It's about knowing your enemy, your own lower nature, and building systems to defend against it. Here's your actionable exercise. For 1 week, become a self-observer. Carry a small notebook or use a notes app. Your task is to track your triggers for undisciplined behavior. Whenever you find yourself doing something you know you shouldn't be, stop and write down 3 things. 1. What was the trigger? For example, I felt bored. I saw a notification. I felt stressed. 2. What was the undisciplined action? For example, I spent 30 minutes on social media. 3. What could I do differently next time? For example, when I feel bored, I will stand up and walk around for 2 minutes instead of grabbing my phone. This act of conscious tracking and planning will show you the patterns of your indiscipline and give you a clear strategy to start rewiring them. You're turning your weaknesses into a training manual for your strength. Section 10. Live by virtue and daily reflection. Principle number 10. Live by virtue and daily reflection. The ultimate goal of Stoic discipline isn't about worldly success, but about living a life of virtue, a life of moral excellence. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." This means that every action, every single day, is a chance to practice the virtues of wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. Discipline, then, becomes the act of aligning your choices with these virtues. But this is impossible without the final, crucial practice: daily reflection. Almost every night, no matter how exhausted he was from ruling an empire, Marcus Aurelius took time to review his day. This wasn't a time for beating himself up, but for honest self-examination. He would ask himself, what did I do well today? Where did my discipline slip? Where did I act with virtue? Where did I fall short? How can I do better tomorrow? This evening review is what connects one day to the next, turning life into a continuous process of improvement instead of just a series of disconnected events. It allows you to learn from your mistakes, to reinforce your successes, and to start each new day with a clearer intention. Without reflection, we're doomed to repeat the same mistakes. With reflection, every day becomes a lesson, and every obstacle becomes a teacher. Your final actionable exercise is to start a simple 2-minute evening review. Before you go to sleep, ask yourself 3 simple questions. 1. What's one thing I did today that I'm proud of, where I acted with discipline and virtue? 2. What's one thing I could have done better, where my discipline slipped? 3. What is the most important thing for me to focus on tomorrow? Write your answers in a journal. This practice closes the loop on your day. It ensures that your efforts aren't in vain and that you are consciously and deliberately sculpting yourself into the disciplined, virtuous person you want to be. It is the engine of your growth. You've just walked through 10 of the most powerful principles for building self-discipline, drawn from the mind of a man who used them to rule the world and, more importantly, to rule himself. We started by understanding the dichotomy of control, learning to focus only on what's ours to command. We embraced total responsibility, rejecting the weakness of the victim. We committed to showing up every day, knowing that consistency, not motivation, is the key. We hardened our minds with voluntary hardship and learned to master our impulses by delaying gratification. We learned to ignore the noise of naysayers, to find our driving purpose, to count on ourselves, to cultivate self-control as a core virtue, and finally, to live a life of virtue guided by daily reflection. These are not 10 separate ideas. They're an interconnected system for living. They are a practical, timeless toolkit for reclaiming your mind from the chaos of the modern world. But knowing them isn't enough. The Stoics knew that philosophy is not a subject to be read, but a life to be lived. Discipline is not something you have. It is something you do every single day. You will fall. You will forget. You will have days where your old habits win. That's part of the process. The true test of discipline isn't to never fail, but to always return to the path. To get back up, review your principles, and begin again. The control you're looking for is already within you. It's time to claim it. Build your life, action by action. No one can keep you from this.